Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so let's go back to Georgia, shall we? There's a lawsuit being filed in Georgia by a group of Democrats, including the DNC and the Georgia Democratic Party, against the Georgia State Election Board after the board passed a new rule earlier this month. We're at the end of September as I record this. That ballots have to be hand counted in addition to their routine machine tabulation. I was watching a short on TikTok from Midas Touch, and I forget the election specialist that was on with them. But basically, his comment was, why is it that the Democrats are always the ones that have to bring the lawsuit? And he was referring to the Georgia Attorney General, who reviewed the rule and basically said, no, this isn't legal. It's a Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr. Basically said, no, this isn't legal. Now, mind you, as it was being pointed out, that the Georgia Attorney General could bring that lawsuit as well. So that, to me, tells me it smacks of politics in Georgia. Basically, the Republicans are saying, yeah, you can go ahead and say it's not legal, but don't do anything about it. Make somebody else do something about it. Make them use their resources to do something about this. The lawsuit notes that several state officials have raised concerns over the hand count, and some of whom are Republicans, such as Attorney General Chris Carr and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Let's see, what else? This is the latest lawsuit brought by Democrats against the state election board in Georgia over new or controversial rules that they've passed. A bench trial pertaining to some of those contested rules kicks off on Tuesday, which includes allowing a reasonable inquiry to be made before the results of an election are certified. 3 members of the board have been lauded by Trump as pit bulls fighting for the honesty, transparency, and victory. In other words, yeah, you're doing me favors and you're making the election seem like they are compromised. And I like that because that plays into my narrative that the election was stolen from me because I'm a little 3-year-old and I'm having a temper tantrum and can't deal with reality. Any parent of a 3-year-old, aunt and uncle of a 3-year-old, neighbor of a 3-year-old, and was babysat a 3-year-old knows what I'm talking about. All right, so let's take a look at this lawsuit in Georgia to see if it has any legs. Is this going to is this lawsuit going to suspend the required hand count? Because all that's going to do, sorry, so I adjust my laptop here. All that's going to do is just delay things. And you know, nature abhors a vacuum, and the minute you start delaying things in Georgia, which could be a key state in all this, it causes people to get anxious, and then they're wondering if there's shenanigans going on, and they don't like to wait. They want the answers instantly. This is just politics. This is gaslighting. I think Arizona had to recount their ballots 3 times, and after like 3 recounts, including the cyber ninjas, they found like a few extra 1,000 votes for Biden, or a few extra 100 votes for Biden. It was very small margins that they found. I didn't think it was that. I think it was like hundreds, if even tens of votes. And same thing with Georgia. They counted their ballots numerous times. They came up with the same result. Let's look at this situation with the elections board. Yeah, let's look at this situation with the elections board in China, and then we're going to add China. There's a slip in Georgia. It could be China, and then we'll look to see if this lawsuit will put a halt to them. Okay, entertainment purposes only. Election board, Georgia. We have the world card, trying to bring things to a close, stopping things from happening. Judgment, couple major arcana, 10 of Wands. So yeah, when the election's over and the country is pronouncing the new president, Georgia's causing difficulties here. It's taking me back to 2020 on this one. when the election was over, Georgia was called for Trump. Trump is calling for his folks to rise up, 10,000, 1,100 votes or whatever it was to overturn the election, and the election didn't get overturned. And then life was hard for some people over there. So this is going back, what this is telling me is we're going all the way back to Trump and the perfect phone call to Brad Raffensperger back in 2020. In the past, we have the government. Yeah, this has everything to do with the Republican Party, the government, and what the fallout from the 2020 election. Current situation is with this election board, they're in bed with the devil. They're MAGA. They're Trumpers, cult members, and MAGA, and they will do anything that dear leader tells them to. Now, whether or not this is just their own personal beliefs, it has to be their personal beliefs because there's no data to support their actions. If anything, they've audited the last election in 2020 numerous times and found the numbers to be highly accurate. So why would you do this? There's no cause for this. Overarching energy is the Three of Wands. They're waiting for election day because they just know that this election's going to be stolen again. The lesson to be learned is the Two of Wands. It's funny because I'm seeing a regression here. This is where they want to go, and this is where they should have stopped. You can talk about doing stuff like that, but you just can't. Why can't you do that? Because it's immoral. It lacks integrity. There's no reason for it. Again, if you were going to do... So this is the election board. They've been making their plans. They're kind of delusional. To be fair, it's fine to always be challenging your election security. Was this election secure? What can we do better? What can we do to ensure security? But the measures that you take need to be proportionate to the problem at hand. And right now, with the work that they've done previously, there's no problem to fix. If you're talking like 100 votes or a couple hundred votes throughout the entire state, will those, you have to ask yourself, okay, what's the criticality of those 100 votes? Did they impact the election? Did they impact any of the elections? What was the common thread with those 100 votes? Were these were these people that passed and weren't taken off the voter rolls in time? What happened? Get to the bottom of it. And I'll give you a hint. It's not illegal immigrants voting in our elections. More likely that it's a Republican voting twice at two different residences or voting for a deceased relative than it is, illegal immigrants. At least the cases that I recall, when they dug down and they found out who was behind it all, it was a Republican. Usually, they were going to cheat, so I decided to cheat too. Good logic. Oh, it was my mom who died, but I know she was a big Trumper, so I know she would have voted for Trump, so I did that for her. Good job. And unlike that poor black woman who voted twice and got sent to prison for 5 years, all these other folks get a slap on the wrist, which, again, if you're wondering if we have a two-tier judicial system, 2 tiers is probably too generous. Now, this lawsuit. Grrr, David's got his Irish up now, and not even Irish. Okay, with this lawsuit coming up, will it put a stop to the shenanigans of this election board? Or are we just back to corruption as usual? King of Cups. I can assume that this is going to be the judge that's going to be overseeing this case. Offers that, and it's going to be crossed with offers. Yeah, okay. So, one of two, it really depends on the judge this goes under. If this goes under a judge that is, in support of Trump, he's not going to buy the arguments that are being made by the Democrats. I think, though, if we get somebody who's not a cult member, if we have a reasonable judge, he's looking at the election coming up and what Trump has done in the past, and he's going to require evidence from the election board that would explain why they need to change the rules in this case to accommodate a hand count to go with the electronic count. Basically, show me why we need to do this, and not because Trump said so. Even though everybody in the room knows it's because Trump said so. Do you have objective facts to come up with? How fascinating. In the same position as the previous reading is the Hierophant. This is with the Georgia government. Can we expect more calls from Donald Trump saying that they have to find 11,780 votes? Current situation is the Tower. I don't think the judge is going to go for this. This looks like the judge is going to put the kibosh on this, and quickly too. Yeah, I think this would be like he's going to he'll put a stay on it, set a court date to go forward with this, present your evidence, and we'll come to something mutually agreeable on that one. So I think that this I'm sorry. I'm not hearing messages. Gosh, that would be amazing. I might have to check myself in, but that would be amazing. The pause and yeah, as I'm playing the scenario through my head here and kind of hearing how the judge might say things. Maybe that is hearing things in my head. It's that, you put a stay on it. Go ahead and count the results. And the part I was just sort of downloading now was that I can almost hear the judge saying, look, you still have the ability to audit the election. Let it go through the electronic count. Call it like you normally would. And, you've got things in place that if it's less than 1%, you go through a recount, or less than 0.5%, whatever Georgia's rules are. You go through a recount. And if you want a full recount, then you go ahead and file the lawsuit to do the full recount. And, you pay for the recount and, do that, which is the normal way of doing things in this situation. That's what I think we'll get, assuming that we have a judge that's not corrupted or fully corrupted. And I give that a really high probability that we will have a reasonable judge that oversees these lawsuits. So I think the Georgia Election Board is going to get a lot of pushback on the legal end of things and just be told, you can't do this at the 11th hour. You've got no evidence of it. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead and do it the way we've always done it. If there's a recount that's triggered by the percentages, we'll do that. If you want to file a suit, if somebody doesn't trust the numbers, they can file suit. They can pay for the recount. We'll do the recount and confirm it. Okay? And if there's a problem, then we can come back and revisit this issue. Okay, that's what I'm seeing with the Georgia case. I'm not going to lose too much sleep. It's annoying. It's aggravating, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep over this. And I hope you don't either. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. I hope you found this reading insightful. It is for information only. It is for entertainment purposes only. It is for information only too. Don't let me tell you what to do. You come up with your own mind. I'm just giving you the question, my interpretations of the facts. You think for yourself and do what's best for you. Okay? I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.